Hi, this is Bruce with Deep South Sauce Company for B&B Charcoal, and I'm here today to cook some chicken wings using the Vortex method. I'll explain a little bit more about the Vortex method when I get it set up, but right now I'm going to get the charcoal started. So what I've done, I'm using B&B Lump Post Oak Hardwood Charcoal. I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's going to be a good hot fire, and it is going to give me some smoke. One reason I chose Lump over briquette, which you could use either one in this case. I chose Lump because I feel like it gives us a little bit more smoke flavor than a normal briquette would. So I'm gonna just kind of light some B&B fire starter here under my chimney. I have my vents wide open at the bottom of the kettle grill to get the airflow. And then I'm just gonna set my charcoal chimney right over the top of it. Now it's a full chimney. I'm gonna let that heat up maybe about 30 minutes until it is white ash and red hot on the top. And then we'll set up for the Vortex. B&B Lump Charcoal's over in the chimney, coming up, getting hot. I'm gonna go ahead and prep the chicken wings. Now, you can buy these pre-done, I'm sure, but I just went to the grocery store and bought some chicken wings. Now, so they already have the drum and the flat connected with the little wing. So you just gotta prep it. So the easiest thing to do is just come in here, take that tip off. You want a nice heavy knife, make sure you grip it nice and tight, and then try to follow the knife and get in there in that joint, and it should just come apart like that. And we're just gonna throw that in the pan. So I'm just gonna finish prepping these, and then we're gonna put some rub on it. All right, so we finished prepping up the wings. Now I'm just taking one of my favorite off-the-shelf rubs. Now, I like this rub for chicken wings because at the end, we're gonna glaze it with some of our Havana heat and smoke and fire to get that hot wing effect. But for a nice, good base, I like something that has some salt, pepper, paprika, garlic, onion, and a little bit of brown sugar in there to get the caramelization that I want. Now, some people say, well, don't you want to use cornstarch? I'm doing high heat on the Vortex, and we'll talk about how the Vortex heat works in a minute. But if you're smoking it, then you want to make sure that the skin's really dry and you use cornstarch in whatever your rub is because you're doing a lower temperature. This is going to be a high temp. We're going to be in the 300s, 350 range in the convection oven that we're going to create. And so it'll get that skin nice and crisp. So you don't need the cornstarch, but if you wanted to, it wouldn't hurt to add it. So I'm just going to kind of very liberally apply the rub all around. You're gonna have to mix it up a little bit to get all the sides. I want to get a good coating. And then I just want to let it sit for a minute, let those flavors get in. Try to penetrate the skin just a little bit. And again, I'm doing this while I'm waiting for my charcoal to get to temp. Really good time to do that. You want to make sure your chicken stays cold as long as possible, but here at the end, I'm going to be putting these on in a few minutes, so it wouldn't hurt to leave them out. All right, we got these seasoned up. We'll give it a minute, and then we'll get them on the grill. So our charcoal's about ready. So what makes Vortex method the Vortex method? Well, it's this little tool right here. It's just a nice piece of metal that's in a cone shape. And what happens is I'm gonna set this down on the bottom grate, and I'm gonna pour the charcoal in here. And what happens is the oxygen is pulled through the bottom and focuses as it comes out the top, right? So it focuses the heat, it comes out the top, and because it's moving faster, it's gonna wind up pushing it straight up into the dome and then coming around the dome and making a convection oven type scenario, right? So that's what's really gonna happen. And so there are many other ways to use this device, but as the Vortex sitting down on top of the grate with the charcoal in it is what we're gonna do today for these chicken wings. So this is hot. I'm using welder's gloves basically. This is hot stuff. So I'm gonna just set it down in the kettle. It's a little off center right now because I wanna give myself plenty of room to pour. And I'm just gonna try to pour carefully in the middle. And if some comes out, that's all right. I got some tongs over here that I use specifically for this to put it back in. So you can already see and hear that it's already starting to get hot and it's focused that heat. So I'm just gonna kind of move it in the center because I'm gonna put that top grate on the top of it and put the chicken wings around it. So I'm just gonna use my tongs and clean up some of these. And get it in there. And so now I'm just gonna put my grate on top, and that'll burn down and smooth out. And then just to add a little extra flavor to it with the wings, with this focus heat coming out, I just have a chunk of B&B charcoal wood, and this is cherry. I'm just gonna set it on top, and that's gonna burn and kind of give off some cherry smoke to add to my wings. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up, let everything get hot, and go get my wings. All right, so we got the Vortex set up. Our cherry chunk is smoking, you can see that, and the smell is just incredible, that cherry wood. So I'm gonna take our wings that have been out and we rubbed them, I'm gonna lay them around the outside. Now, I like the drumettes. I face the fat side forward and I put them a little closer. Now, the flats, you can kind of put them towards the back. Depending on how many you're loading up here and how much room you have, I tend to, when I'm doing a lot, stagger a little bit. You can get them close together if you have to, but you do want that airflow to go between them. You can't lock them together too tight. You want to put these around. And again, I kind of do drums and flats, just to give myself some room. The flats are a little thinner, although they have the two bones in it. Will take a little less time than the drums on the fat part. That's why I put them, the fat parts toward the middle. And the convection is really going to get this skin nice and crisp on this method. Now, if you're thinking, well, why would I buy the Vortex? It can only do this. Well, it can do more. Believe it or not, in the snake method that we show in another video, if you're having trouble, you can put your charcoal around and turn it upside down. You can actually turn it upside down and put charcoal on the outside of it, around it, and you can put a chicken inside of it and cook it inside the Vortex piece. So it's a pretty neat and versatile piece. If you also need to smoke in an offset, you can turn it upside down, put charcoal in it, put it to one side or the other, and cook or smoke on the other. So it's a really versatile piece of gear. So if you're worried about buying it only to do wings, it can do so much more. All right, so that was one package of wings cut up. Put it around the best you can. It really works best on something 22 inches or larger. You really can't use it on the tailgaters in this method. But there you go. So we're gonna put the lid back on, 15 minutes. Now, again, it's all about the airflow. I had the bottom wide open, I had the top wide open. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a timer in 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna rotate the vents after 15 minutes because I want that smoke to come all the way around. At about the 30-minute mark, I'll flip them to make sure. And then when we get towards the end, we're gonna glaze them with some of our sauces. All right, so it's been a little over, it's almost 45 minutes. We're gonna look at them and check the temp on them, and I think they're about ready. We're gonna glaze them with some of our Havana heat. So they're looking really good. So we're gonna go ahead. Now we're using our Deep South Sauce Company Havana Heat, which is a mango habanero. And I'm just gonna brush it on. Get some nice additional flavor on here. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute and set. And then I'll take it off and we'll be ready to eat these things. So I'll do both sides. You can see that piece of cherry wood in the middle has been smoking right along this whole time. So we've been adding some cherry smoke to the flavor. It'll be very interesting. And I think this Havana heat is gonna work nice. It's got that sweet heat to it. Now, if you didn't like the sweet, if you don't like mango, we certainly have our Smoke and Fire, which is our original Kansas City style sauce with habanero in it. So it'll be that nice smoky habanero flavor if you don't like the mango habanero. But it goes really well with the rub that we chose earlier. I'm gonna do that. And now I'm just gonna rotate all these and get the other side. Take but a minute. Now, if you're noticing how I can just touch these things, I do have cotton gloves under my rubber gloves. Protects me from some of the heat. I wouldn't go picking up charcoal or anything, but it definitely protects from most heat. And I'm just gonna finish up glazing these here. Oh, the color on these is outstanding. These are gonna be some nice crisp wings. Now, what I was looking for with them, with these chicken wings, you can definitely, I like mine more done. Because it's the dark meat, I like to get up in the 170s to 180s. Some of these are in the 200 range because I like mine nice and crisp, especially to get the skin crisp, getting up in the 190s to low 200. All right, so I'm gonna cover this back up, let it sit for maybe 2 minutes, and then we're gonna take it off and serve them up. All right, so the wings are done. We pulled them off from the grill. They're nice and hot. We had glazed them with our sauce, presented them, got a little chive over the top for presentation, let them sit for just a minute, and we're about to dig into these things. So this has been Bruce with Deep South Sauce Company for B&B Charcoal, and we cooked some chicken wings with our Deep South Sauce Company Havana heat with B&B Charcoal on a kettle grill using the Vortex method.